So, with it being October 30th, and we're coming to the penultimate, the end of spooky season, I'm not ready, guys, I'm not ready. I think since it is, October 30th, aka Devil's Night, I figured I'd do a fanfiction idea that would fire it up! Fire it up! Fire it up! I'm doing a crow story. I'm pathetic. Anyway, so yes, as you can see from the title, this is a Kim Possible and the Crow crossover. This is a I don't think I've done a few Kim Possible stories, but I've never really done a lot, and I think this is the first time I've ever done a story about the Crow in any capacity. So let's talk about this Crow crossover with Kim Possible. So this is a kind of an AU story where all of Kim Possible's villains, led by Draken, go knocking at, basically all besiege her home at her home. Because that's a crazy thing. Like, has anyone, like, not just me, but, like, realized that everyone knows who Kim Possible is? Like, you could just go to the... Like, you could just... Like, why didn't any of the villains, and so ever rarely did you see them ever go to her hometown, let alone attack her in the middle of the night while she's sleeping? Yeah, it just made no sense to me. So in this, all of the villains gang up on Kim. Like, they all besiege her home, and Kim basically fights all of her villains at once, and thankfully this isn't like an Old Man Logan thing where all of her family dies and she's left alone. No, she manages to rescue her family and Ron and get everyone safe, whereas she goes on a, one-person fight against all of her villains, and they end up killing her. So Kim is dead, and yeah, just right out the gate, all of her villains ganged up and killed her. And we fast forward a year. And you may be thinking, okay, this is the part where all the villains are like taking over and whatnot. Not necessarily. Just because they killed Kim, that doesn't mean they beat Kim. They didn't win. Like, they didn't, like, they've got better ground now that Kim's out of the way, but there's still people fighting them. Global Justice Network, Ron, now Monique is stepping up, and you've got Jim and Tim, who are building new gadgets for Ron and Monique, and their new ally Yori, who Ron is getting into a relationship with. Also, Wade's still alive. So yeah, there's still like people fighting them and stopping them. It's just they're not as efficient as Kim is. So bad guys are winning a little more, but they're not like it's not like the world has been taken over, and everyone's still kind of reeling from Kim's death. But one day, the worst part was it happened on Kim's birthday. So 1 year to the day, Ron and Monique go to visit Kim's grave for her birthday, but find that the grave has been disturbed. It looked like someone dug out the grave, but then upon examination, they're like, oh, someone didn't dig out the grave, someone dug up from the grave, and they're thinking, no, there's no way. What kind of sick bastard would defile Kim's grave like this? She had enemies, but they're kind of pissed because they think one of the villains disturbed her grave as like a celebration of like the 1 year anniversary of their greatest enemy's death. But yeah, they're like, that doesn't explain why something crawled out of the grave. Not too long later, they get a call. Kim and Monique and Yori go to get a call, and essentially what this call is that, hey, there's a problem, you guys need to figure it out. And they're like, what's the problem? We just found Duff Killigan dead. And yeah, sure enough, Duff Killigan has just been brutally murdered by somebody. They don't know who, but someone like just killed him, like someone just brutally murdered this guy, and it looked like he didn't die peacefully. Like, he tried to put up a fight, but this person moved fast, pretty strong, and was downright just lethal. Like, yeah. So that's what they're dealing with. So it's not. Then when they're trying to investigate that, they discover that Gil got murdered. Dee and Amy is also dead. Like, someone is just knocking off Kim's villains. Like, someone is just knocking off all of the old villains, and clearly doing it with extreme prejudice, and because none of these people died well. And the one thing that's kind of recurring is that Ron kind of notices every time he's there's a crow in the around the scene. So one time, after they find that Jack Hench has been killed, they find like video camera, like their security camera that managed to pick up who did this. And it's a person wearing like this black trench coat Their hair is black, and they're wearing a mask with lines on it, very similar to Eric Draven's face paint from the original Crow movie. And that kind of leads to them being like, I feel like I've seen this before. So they go to the GJN, and Will basically pulls up files along with Wade, and they're like, yeah, there was a guy back in the 90s who was in this city, and there was this legend about a crow, and this guy named Eric Draven was murdered on October 30th, and then legends said, like, there were stories that Eric Draven came back, like something brought him back, and he got his revenge for the murder of him and his girlfriend. So they're kind of like, there is no way that someone, like some kind of supernatural being, like, is attacked. Like no one is saying, like, is Eric Draven doing this? Because that's not their first thought. Their first thought is like, oh, is Eric Draven returned? And he's like, no, they found Eric Draven's body. He's gone. Like, Eric Draven just dropped off the map. So they think it's Draven, but we kind of know who it is. And it isn't until they find out that Monkey Fist actually goes to them for help, because he's already figured out someone's knocking off the villains, and he goes to them like, I will turn myself in, just protect me, save me. And he goes into Global Justice's protection, but that's when the assailant shows up, and Ron and Monique and Yori try to fight them. The mask gets knocked off, and it's Kim. Yeah, Kim came. The Crow brought Kim back from the dead, but there's a little bit of a difference. Whereas Eric was brought back through his love and his pain and sorrow and sadness, that the Crow allowed him to come back. When Kim came back, it was a little different. You see, when Kim died, she was filled with a lot of rage and anger at, all of her villains basically breaking the one rule. Like, there was kind of like an unspoken agreement between me and the villains. Like, I don't get in their personal, like, I don't come after them for no reason. They don't come after me for no reason. Like, we have, like, there's a barrier there. Like, it was all professional. But then they broke the law. They broke it by coming into my house and basically terrorizing my family and leading to my death. So when Kim was killed, she was left with nothing but just rage. And that rage kind of manifested into something darker than Draven. And she is on the warpath. Now, her memories are kind of shot. Like, she does have, like, bits and pieces there. And when she encounters Ron, she's like, I know you, but stay out of my way. She just finishes Monkey Fist. Like, she just flat out Mortal Kombat finishing moves him before moving on to the next few ones. So obviously they figure out real quick that, oh, we kind of know who she's working her way up to. We're figuring out, like, who she's working her way up to. It's obviously Draken and Shigo. They're the ones who put up the plan, and Shigo was the one who put the killing blow on Kim that ended her. So obviously she's saving Draken and Shigo for last. Because, yeah, she's going to just do something really horrible to them. And to which Ron's like, well, can't we just save her? I mean, Kim's back from the dead. That should, maybe we can bring her back. We should all just be accepted. And they also, really the other thing is they really kind of accept that the supernatural stuff brought Kim back from the dead. But because, yeah, they've time traveled, they've encountered dinosaurs, they've encountered magic stuff before, so it wasn't too much of a leap for them to go, okay, so now this magic bird can bring people back from the dead and make them into a Punisher. That's great. They're like, okay, magic bird, Kim's back from the dead. Got it. Because I wish it were more, you'd think that people would be, people in these situations who encounter these weird things would be like, alright, I got it. This is not completely insane. So throughout the story, Kim does work her way. They try to keep jogging her memory to stop her, but the thing is that this is not the same Kim. The more she encounters her villains and starts killing them, the more she recovers her memories. And the more she's like, but this is kind of like The Grudge, where she died in hate and now she's just ruled by it. She is ruled by hatred. So finally she does get her way to Draken and Shigo, and after offing Draken, it's just her and Shigo is like, holy crap, this is what I've always wanted. she even like welcomes the idea of fighting Kim like this, because this is like, if I can beat you, like, you always held back. That was how I managed to beat you in the end, was that you held back. You didn't pull. You always pulled your punches. If you were as lethal as me, this would be perfect. So now you're not. You're not. You're going all out. So this is how I can finally beat you. I can finally feel fulfilled by killing you this time around. Of course, you can't really kill them, but of course, Draken and Shigo were doing their own research and found out you take out the Crow, you take out Kim. So yeah, by the end of it all, Ron is caught in the middle of this three-way fight between him, Kim, and Shigo does get just murdered by Kim. And by the end of it, the Crow, Kim, at the end of it's like, it's over. Like, I avenged my death, but at the end of it, it's like, what? I don't feel anything. Like, all I feel is just angry. So, yeah, by the end of it, Ron has to help her move on back to, to Beyond. But essentially, this time around, something different happens, because the Crow even realizes, ooh, I can't bring this one back to the afterlife. I can't send this one, not with so much anger in her. So what the Crow does is basically make her kind of like a being in between, like a legit spirit of vengeance. So she's kind of like a specter kind of character now. So, yeah, there you go. Anyway, that is pretty much my Kim Possible The Crow crossover. Yeah, I thought it'd be kind of fun. It's kind of dark, but at the same time, it does kind of have that Marvel What If feel. And I've always wanted to do a Crow story, so, yeah. Anyway, so you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of this story? Did you guys like it, hate it? Comment below, let me know. And as always, if you haven't already, go check out my Patreon. And other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.